Yo, what's poppin' YouTube? This your boy Leo coming at you with another video. In this video, I'm gonna show you guys and give you advice and tips on how to get a job in IT, how to get in through the door and just get your foot in, and how to advance your career. This is also gonna help you if you are working a job where you're doing manual labor outdoors and you want to get into a job that's indoors, and you can work from home and etc. etc. This is going to give you advice on things to try. And if you're persistent enough and if you really want it, these tips will help you find a job and get a job and keep your job and advance in your job. So let's go. Let's go ahead and dive right into it. All right. So the first information we're going to cover is people that have no knowledge. So if you're trying to get into the field and you're working in a complete different field and you want to get in and this is something you want to do, this information is going to go for you. So the first thing you're going to do is you have different options. You can either join a school and start going through a curriculum and learning that way. That's going to be a little bit expensive. It might come out of pocket. You might have to spend time, money, etc. in order to get into the field. Or you can go the free route. So the free route is get it on YouTube. You're going to get on YouTube and you're going to start using and assessing some of this free knowledge. Everything that's, in these quizzes, in these classes in college, it's all free information that you can find nowadays on YouTube and on Google. So if you do your, share of looking, you're going to be able to find a lot of this information. So if you're trying to take the free, easier route, is going to go, you're going to go with going through YouTube. So you're going to get on YouTube, you're going to look up Professor Messler, you're going to look up, there's other options out there. There's tons of options. But look up Professor Messler. Look up the A+ exam. This is the basics. This is the skills you need to get in. Some of this stuff, you can learn this stuff without even having an actual job doing it. You can look in your local Facebook, find a cheap computer, a desktop, take it home, take it apart. So when you're going through these videos on YouTube, you have an actual hands-on model that you can actually stick your hands into, take apart, see what happens, maybe break it, and see, what you can and can't do with these computers, or, the stuff inside of them, or laptops. It goes all ways. So just learn the insides and outsides of a laptop. Learn the menus inside of Windows, how to get to control panel, how to get to a lot of these easy things, how to reinstall a program, how to search for programs and install the files. There's so much information out there. But if you go through one of these courses that are free for YouTube, like Professor Messler, A+ course is going to give you all the basics in order to be able to get maybe a certificate. And that's something that you can test yourself with. After you're done doing this, you can test yourself and try to go get a cert. This is going to help. So let's say you're a construction worker. You wake up in the morning, you have to go into the job site. You get on your phone on the drive there, and you're listening to some Professor Messler. On your lunch break, boom, let me knock out 30 minutes of Professor Messler. You get home, you have dinner, you have fun with your family. But before bed, let me knock out 2 hours of Professor Messler. So in that amount of time, you might have done, let's say 3 hours. 3 hours a day for about a month, you'll have this knowledge. Now you can go try to take the certificate. Or another thing you can do is, now that you have this knowledge, you can go and go for a staffing agency. Tell them some of the skills and that you're trying to get into an entry-level job. If you go through a staffing agency, they want to make money off you, so they're going to find ways to stick you at jobs. Just let them know the hours. If you can't, if you have a regular full-time job, maybe you can get a job where you work 1 day a week at night doing a little bit of, help desk for, one of these jobs. You can do a little bit of help desk, get some more, stuff to put on your resume. So this is going to help you. So at some point, you're going to start having experience along with some of the knowledge that you have. And this is going to help you sneak into a job where you can start to build and start from the bottom and get to the top pretty quick if you actually are determined enough. All right, so the first thing we went over is for people with no knowledge. If you have no knowledge, you don't know what a computer does, you don't know anything about that, we covered on how to take online courses, how to take free YouTube courses on how to, get this knowledge and be able to reach out maybe to staffing agencies, or if you have a connection or, you know somebody, how to get into, a position at the bottom at the help desk, or, tech support, or whatever they call it, it might be all kinds of different names. Just get your foot in the door and get in there with no experience. And if you follow those steps, I don't see why you can't get into an IT job within a year. All right, now that we went over some of the stuff for people with no knowledge, we're going to go into the, the folks that have knowledge, or if you did not have knowledge and now you do have knowledge, you can now follow this part of the video. All right, so this is going to be for the folks that, maybe work on computers on the side, maybe work on friends and family's computer, maybe went to school for a little but didn't finish. Somebody that's just trying to get their foot in the door, that has knowledge, understands the stuff, but just doesn't have any physical on paper experience to be able to submit to these jobs as, for a resume or an application. So the first thing you want to start looking into is, if you work at a job that has an IT department, start to reach out and let them know, hey, I'm interested in this career, I'm trying to go through this. Do you guys have any way to help me, with schooling? They might be able to pay for it. Or you can reach out to the department, manager, and be like, hey, I'm really interested into this. Is there any, entry level positions or anything I can do to get my foot in the door? So try internal first. The second part you're going to try is maybe connections. Do you have a connection? Do you have a friend, family, or somebody that can help you get your foot in the door, at least get a, interview? A lot of the times just getting an interview and having a good personality can get you a long way. Most managers will tell you that they don't really care about the person's technical skills a lot of the time. It's more of the customer-based skills. So they want you to have a good personality. They want you to be able to come in on time, to be reliable, kind of these kind of things. If you go into a job interview and you tell them these things, that you're reliable, you have, great, this, that, this, the other, they're going to love that. And especially if you have a good personality, because that's going to transmit on the phone when you're talking to somebody. They're going to be more patient, more, just in a better, mood with somebody that's pleasant than somebody that's dark and evil and might know what's going on, but they hate their lives and they're upset. So that's one of the things, is have a good personality. When you go to interview, show them your personality, smile a lot. So, if you do get, an interview by somebody, or somebody that, refers you, make sure that you do good by them, and you go there, you show up on time, you show up well dressed, you smile, you talk, compliment, whatever it is, you're just professional about it. So this person, feels right about it. Your technical skills might not be the best, but they may like your personality better. So, that's another option. If you do have a friend, family, or somebody that can get you an interview, that's a great way to get your foot in the door. I was able to have a family friend make a recommendation for me to, apply to a job. I applied, they reached out to that department and let them know that I applied, and I had an interview. And in that interview, I rocked them with my personality, and I got the job right away, literally right away, with no experience, no knowledge, no nothing. So this is something that you can also do. So, make sure you give it a try. So we're going to cover some of the things that you want to do if you have no experience and you want to make yourself sound better and look better during an interview. We're going to cover that next. And these hints and tips should help you hopefully land the job. All right, so interviewing. Let's say you applied, you got a connection, a help, or help from somebody, or you applied to a bunch of jobs and you had somebody call you back and they want to see you in person, they want to meet you, they might have called you on the phone or whatever, and great, awesome, let's go in. We're now sitting in their location. Make sure that you're dressed well, make sure your hygiene is well, make sure that you look good, make sure you're smiling, make sure that you make eye contact. You walk in, you might make a little joke about the weather, ask about the day, the day of the person that's interviewing you. How's your day going? How was your weekend? Stuff like that. A lot of the times, these people are not looking for the best technical person. They're looking for the best person at being a person, being kind, having customer service. They're looking for that. A lot of managers will tell you that they don't care about the technical skills of the person. They can teach that and develop that, but they can develop and teach personal skills. So, if you're a angry person on the phone, but you might have the knowledge for IT to be able to know everything, but you might be horrible on the phone. So this person's going to be upset and sad on the phone. They're not going to have a good experience. But if you're not knowledgeable, but you have a good personality, they'll sit and they'll wait and they'll be patient because they'll enjoy talking to you. You'll have people that legit would, tell you, hey, I really enjoyed our conversation. You're a really good person, and thank you for, working hard on this, even though you took forever. Thank you for that. I enjoyed our call. So again, that shows you right there that you don't need the technical skills. You just need to have the customer service skills, and then you can build the technical skills while you're in the job. And then, yeah, at some point you might get to the point where you don't want to deal with the customers anymore. You want to just be dealing with the IT stuff, but you're going to have to start at the bottom and get to that point. Once you get to that point where you have the skills, you have knowledge, you can get away from the customer service portion, and you can start to, adapt and do more of the actual hands-on behind the scenes stuff. All right, so now we're going to cover your resume. So in your resume, you're going to build a complete different brand new resume for IT. You're not going to have, you worked at a flower shop when you were 12. You're not going to have any of this stuff in there. We want only IT related things. So let's say you have no IT jobs. You have no IT, information to put in there. Great. What you're going to do is you're going to get some information to put in there. You're going to volunteer, any volunteer work. You might, go to a church, and maybe your church might need IT work or IT help. That's something that you can put on the resume. Something that you might do in the summer, like internships or something that you manage their sound stuff or whatever. Those are stuff that you can put in your resume, in a section. But you do want to start adding jobs to the resume. So I told you, I told you guys before, the best way is going through a staffing agency. So reach out to a staffing agency. They may have you come in and take some kind of, comprehension test to see your skills. And then they'll be able to see what you know and what you don't know and be able to match you with jobs. If you do hit the skills of IT where you have some knowledge, and you tell them you have knowledge and you tell them the things you do, they will help you find a job in, IT field. So that's something that I did personally. I reached out to a staffing agency. I got a job through a staffing agency working at a university. The university needed people after hours for 4 hours a day to manage the phones and just answer phone calls, IT related. It was all nothing that I had to log into nobody's computer or nothing like that. It was just showing them what to click, basically going through the how-to document they had and having them do it on their computer. So it was just something entry to kind of just do. And then there was an option also, if they liked you and your personality was good and everything, that they would hire you on. So that could be your first, attempt at an actual gig. You might go through a staffing agency and then end up being hired. So that's an option you could take. On my route, I did not do that. I kind of bounced around and I took different jobs. So I worked at a project for about 2 months, and then I would do another IT project doing something else at another company for another month. And I would document all this stuff on my resume. So I had all these different amount of, jobs on there. They might have been for a short period of time, but it showed that I had, different skills and I was doing different things and I had stuff to add, which, again, if you come in with that small resume and you come in with a big persona, with a big, personality, smile, you're gracious, you're, great, you're a good person, you're a happy, good person, and you come in with, the right mindset, you're going to land that job. It doesn't matter about your resume being small. You have something in there, and trust me, you're going to be adding stuff to it after this. So yeah. again, start building your resume. Talk to somebody that, if you don't know how to build a resume, that builds IT resumes. Look online, Google IT resume examples, and you can take one of those and just, the best one you see, and copy it and just use that as as a template to build your own resume. All right, let's say now you have your resume full, you have a few temp positions that you worked, you have a little bit more knowledge, you don't have any connections, but now you can actually start applying the jobs. So when you're applying the jobs, make sure you have your resume ready, all your contact information ready, and create these Indeed accounts and start sending out resumes. Look for entry level, IT, help desk, service desk, support desk, and get yourself into one of these jobs. These jobs are going to get you, the skills to be able to learn a little further up and get up in the chain more. And again, if you're doing this along with great personality, and you reach out and you tell your supervisor or your boss, whatever, that you're in, you want to grow. You want to grow in the company. You want to grow. You understand the business, and you want to, to continue to grow. You could reach out and see about them paying for your school. All right, so now we did our resume, we interviewed, we got a job by maybe doing a little bit of schooling, maybe doing some self-taught schooling, and having those personal skills. We're sitting out inside an actual job. We're doing help desk. We're helping people daily. So is this what you want to do forever? Do you enjoy this? If you do, then you can ask about moving inside the department. You can become a specialist 2, a specialist 3. You can become, there's many different titles if you work at a big company, that you can go up the chain of custody, and get to the point where you can maybe become a manager or supervisor. That's all if you work at a big company. If you work at a smaller company, you may have more access to more things, so you'll be able to learn different departments. You'll be asked to do more stuff. You'll be asked to get into networking and security, and dib and dab with different applications that maybe at a bigger company you wouldn't have had so much access, because they got everything structured. So that's something that you have to keep in mind, the two options between a large company and a big company. The good thing about the big company is it usually has great benefits, and you're able to move up a lot of different levels. They'll have different departments, they'll have different titles for everything. But in a small company, it might be more of a slower growth, because they may not have all these titles yet created. You know what I mean? So these titles might need to be created in order for these promotions and stuff like that to happen. But it is doable. And at the end of this video, I'm going to give you guys my story and show you guys how I did it. But again, after having your either your small mom and pop small business job or big corporate job, you're able to kind of sit there and learn and see what direction you want to go. And then once you're there, that's when you want to start reaching out to your supervisor. You want to let them know in the direction you want to go and see what you need to do in order to get there. You can ask for a tuition reimbursement through small or big companies, just to see if they offered it. And if they do, and they give you the okay, take advantage of that. Go and do that. Go to school, go get certificates, whatever it is. Usually it's only IT related things, or certificates or classes. Nothing, they won't cover general ed or any of that stuff, English. So do know that ahead of time, that usually they do not cover that stuff, but they'll do the IT stuff. But every single location might be different. But again, if you are able to use that benefit, use it. And don't let that go, and not take advantage of it, because you'll kick yourself in the butt later on if it's something that it's possible but you didn't use. All right, so now you're in your IT job, you're in your IT help desk position. You let your manager know the direction you want to go. You got approval to start courses and go in that direction, and they're backing you up. So that's what you do now, and that's how you move up the company, and you use your skills, and you have to learn the etiquettes of working in an office or working from home, making sure that you have, a good set of, skills, and also a set of shoulders for your head. You want to make sure that you're doing things professionally. You want to stay professional at all times. You want to stay reliable. You want to make sure that you're coming to work, you're not calling out last minute. You want to be an employee that, if they lose you, they're hurt by them losing you. So, that's something you always want to keep in mind, that you are a company. The worst of a company, or a business you come in late, or, all that kind of stuff, it's going to deflect bad on you, which is going to cause you to lose your job, or, whatever else, or, take longer to be promoted, or, whatever, move up your career. So you want to make sure that you're giving it, an A effort every single day, even on your worst days. And we all have them, but you have to make sure that you don't let those deteriorate your persona and who you are, because you're trying to grow here. We're not trying to waste time in one spot and just get, burnt out. We want to make, the most we can. We want to get to higher salaries. We want to have better lives. And the goal is to make our way through that. And this is going to all help you get to that point without having to spend years and years and years in a position and wondering how and why. All right, so now we talked about a few things, and every single route, it's doable. And if you take your time, it's achievable. You can definitely have a job in, IT with no experience to middle experience to high experience. Again, we went over the greatest thing that you can have is personality. It's customer service, is being reliable, is having high integrity, being, that they can rely on you, not just to come into work, but additional things. This is what is going to get you promoted. This is going to get you eyes on you. There's more of, the quality of the work, not the quantity. So keep those things in mind. I'm going to give you guys my story and what I did, so you can kind of compare. Every story is going to be different. Every single journey is going to be different. Some may be easier, some may be harder, but this is a journey and something that, you should be able to achieve. All right, so my journey was rough. So I immigrated here from a third world country at the age of 7. English is my second language. Growing up, I grew up in rough areas, and, education was one of those things that you kind of just forgot and didn't chase. I didn't go to school. I actually dropped out of high school in the 9th grade, 10th grade-ish area. And I went and got my GED degree, and I wanted just to become a worker. I thought working at, random places, locally was going to be enough to have a life, because I lived with my parents. Once I went out to the real world, I realized that you need to have a real salary and have, your big boy pants on in order to have a good life in the United States. So I went ahead and began my journey. So I knew the first thing I needed to do was go into college. So, something told me, hey, I wasn't meant for school. I don't like school, but this was going to help me, or at least that's what I thought. I had to go down that route. So I went down the school route. I got in debt. I didn't know what to do. I jumped around from, doing air traffic control to doing computers to back and forth, not trying to get a job because, I thought I was going to do another job, and just wasting a lot of time, So I ended up, sticking with the IT thing, because it was something that I always kind of knew just from hands-on experience working on my family's, my mom's computer, friends and family, my own. And it was just something that I was just kind of natural. I kind of did it without actually even, learning anything. I kind of just hands-on, started just messing with stuff. And then to this day, I'm not 100% the best computer person. It's not something that I love. I don't love spending time in front of a computer. I actually enjoy spending time outside, but it's something that I use as a tool to have a job that's, indoor, that I can do anywhere in the world possibly, and, something that, I can be at home, which I like being at home too. And it's something that, if I take care of myself, I can actually, have a good physique and take care of myself better than being outside, doing manual work, possibly injuring myself or having, something happen, that might impact my health in the long term. So I got to a point I just didn't know what I was gonna do, career wise. And, the thing that, kind of fell back on was the IT thing. It's just what was natural to me, like I said. So I got a little bit of help and got an interview through my brother-in-law with an IT company that was for medical stuff. They had like hospitals and stuff like that. So it looked like their turnover rate was pretty quick. So that was a good way to kind of get into a place and kind of see if I can grow. So that was my first job, was, doing that kind of IT. Before that, leading up to that, I knew that I needed to get some experience to get back into that. So I reached out to a temp agency in the area, gave them my skills, what I did, and that's what I started doing. I started working through a university, doing a little bit of, IT work for them at night after my regular job. And then after that, I went to another project, did a little more IT stuff. And I started slowly added that into my resume, where I got my interview through the job through my brother-in-law. I was able to come in with some skills, some knowledge, and some stuff on a paper that actually, kind of backed me up a little too. So my interview again went great. I have a great personality. I like, to smile. I know what they want and what they need and what makes them, comfortable, and that's what they're looking for. So they gave me a shot and they hired me right away. So once I started my IT job, I try to get, involved into the office environment and get used to that, because I've always had outdoor jobs or just, jobs that, didn't require working in the office with, the same people all the time. So I had to get used to that environment. It was all office, kind of work. It wasn't no work from home, right away. But once I started proving my skills and my customer service and I was reliable, they started seeing that. They started allowing me to work from home. And, eventually I was working from home full time, never came into the office. So once I was there, I was kind of, did I want to grow into, a big company and have to go through a bunch of stages. And there was also like, a lot of like company drama and, a lot of, stuff that happens in these places, that kind of sucks. That's kind of like not part of the job. But yeah, so I ended up kind of taking a chance, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to leave this job and I'm going to find something at a smaller company where I could get more hands-on and I can learn more skills instead of the limited amount of stuff that I was given, because they just didn't give you the keys to the kingdom. They kind of just only gave you this much amount of, of access, because usually somebody in the past has messed that up for everybody, and that's what the access was taken. Somebody did that. Somebody did something incorrectly to make that happen. So I wanted to get more keys to the kingdom. I wanted to get more knowledge, more hands-on experience with other things. Just talking to managers and having interviews, it wasn't enough, because I wasn't able to actually do things hands-on to show them that I knew more than just customer service stuff. So I took a shot on myself. I applied at a new place for an insurance company. I interviewed with them like 4 or 5 times, and they gave me the job. At that point, I had 4 years of IT experience under my belt, and they went ahead and took a shot at me and put me into another role. It was a smaller company. I was doing the same thing, making about the same money, but I thought it was a, good decision for my career. So 4 years later into the job, I was doing the same thing. I was doing the help desk stuff. I was doing the support, but I'm doing it for a smaller company. It's not as busy. It's not as hectic as a, big company. And you're able to actually get more hands-on with a lot of the stuff. So I learned a lot of skills. So with those skills, I still had gaps in my knowledge, because I didn't go to school, fully for this. And I had a limited amount of, just hands-on knowledge. But I reached out to my manager and I said, hey, how would you feel if I went to school for this? And I kind of, gave him the structure of what I was trying to do. We don't have this, position here. There's a lot of updates and things that are not being looked at because we don't have the manpower, how would you feel if I went into this route, into security? That was something that I wanted to get into because I know it pays well. I know the salaries are high, and it seemed like something that was more suited for me, at that point in time. So I started getting into security, and I reached out to him and I talked to him. Would this be something that I think this would be something that would help the company by having a security guy, somebody that can look at these updates, somebody that can help with this, somebody that can, if something happens, can be there to respond right away. How would you feel if I went through this program to learn the skills to be able to help the company? This is going to eventually just help the company overall. I'll be able to, you already have somebody internal that understands the business, that understands the stuff that's going on here, has the access. Why bring in somebody new, and have them do this when you already have somebody internal that can learn this and take it further, at least as a entry level. So, he agreed, and he gave me the okay to, go to look for a school and start my program. So that's what I did. So I slowly started my program. I started to gain more knowledge. I started to fill in those gaps that I never had, and now, the foundation to my home is a lot better of the knowledge that I have. And I'm starting to gain knowledge on top of that through the schooling, which, by you doing that, by you doing and putting in your time, being reliable, having high integrity, being a hard worker, being assertive and reaching out and letting them know that you're trying to do something more of your career, giving them the information, how it's going to benefit them and how it's going to benefit not only them, myself, including, and that you're not trying to leave. And those things all helped get the okay. Now I'm in a position with no schooling, very little knowledge. I'm doing the job, getting paid pretty well. And then on top of that, they're paying for my school, for me to go to school to get better skills. So after doing that for a little bit, that was enough to show them that I'm somebody that's serious about it and that's trying to go after this. And we're back. Sorry, that last part of the video ended up cutting out, so we're gonna film it right now. So I was saying at the end, with following that structure, the plan that I kind of went through, I think it could have been done in a sooner aspect, in a sooner time frame, if I would have started to kind of going after the process of going to school and getting my education to further, take my skills. So once I finally, was able to enroll in school, get my classes set up, start the curriculum, I was able to kind of go back to my supervisor and just kind of check in. And to my surprise, I ended up getting information that I wasn't really expecting right away. And they saw my effort, they saw my motivation, and they decided to, help me by promoting me and giving me, the opportunity to go into that position. So again, guys, this is something that can be done. You can be from any walk of life. You see how I talk, you see how I look like a white guy, but I'm Hispanic. And then I talk like, I'm kind of like from the hood. That's because that's where I grew up, my younger days. So I'm trying to just give you guys the motivation that you can change any career path. You can change anything. You can do and achieve anything if you really, honestly do give it a try and you kind of set it as a goal and you kind of just keep going at it. Like the least time frame that you have to waste and the less out of your life, the better. So hopefully these tips help you to hopefully, make that jump right away. I want you guys to do well in life. I want you guys to make as much money as you can, and that's something that, you're going to be able to, take with you and nobody can take away from you. Again, just to give you guys a little motivation. Once I started school, only 6 months into school for cybersecurity, I was able to get a nice little promotion. And just to let you guys know, just to show you how much, of a life change this can be, it was double my current salary. So, like that for her, that helps my daughters, that helps us, and that was a big bump. So, you know, just to go from a normal, you know, let's say, you know, $50,000 salary and go straight to 100, that's a big scale jump, you know, that shows. And, you know, like I said, I was able to get to that without a lot of schooling, not a lot of, you know, guidance just to get to that point. And then I had to take it from that point on and understand that in order to make more money, you're going to have to push yourself and you're going to have to do more and provide more of a service. And that's something that, you know, I'm telling you is don't sit stagnant at a job, because you're losing out and they're going to win by just letting you do the same thing over and over again. You know what I'm saying? So push the boundaries, see what you can get out of a job, do the most you can. And I'm telling you, I promise you, if you follow the tips and you're motivated and dedicated, you're going to be able to achieve these goals. And I hope you guys, again, do these in less time than I do. I want to hear how some of these, you know, tips have helped you. I want to see the comments underneath. I want to make sure that, you know, you guys are getting the right information so you guys can go out there and do a good job. But again, if you like these videos, like, comment, subscribe. King Leo, we out.